Wow. Let's go. Let's go.
Well, we are having some issues today, but that's okay because we are, I guess it's like they used to say, the show must go on.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Exactly. She must be in where. Let's pull her out because she's at the store. So she got to be back from the store. So go ahead, Sharon. Tell us what we're
yes.
about. We're running late. You may not be even seeing us because we're running late in our usual places. Our borders went down. For some reason, we can't connect. So we're actually connecting off the phone. And I'm running it someplace else in the world. Real strange. So you're not even seeing this the way you usually see us. I'm sorry about that, but this is the best that we can do. And we're going to do what we have to do. Go ahead, Sharon.
Somebody somewhere does not want this show to be on. That
Forgot
means
about
that
it.
it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
We
Wow.
we are talking about something that is one of those situations that everybody knows what it is, but everybody has some different take on what it is. And so, um, what we're going to do is, I should we do the belief statement?
Yeah, let's go ahead and
Okay.
do that because I'm giving some time because I got to paste it up in the usual area on Facebook. Now it's live on Facebook finally, so
Okay.
people can get up on Facebook and see it because we're running late as we
Yes.
don't really want to, but now they can see it. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to start with reading our belief statement. It says, we are going to relate. It doesn't matter what your mother says, your father says, your children, or even what Jesus says. We are going to relate. At Taking the Journey Together, we believe in relating in a balanced manner. Balanced relationships are the ones that are entered into as friends first and lovers second, but has both aspects in each partner. And that brings us to something that is really important and a connection point when it comes to um, uh, our topic today.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and we are moving kind of quickly. And what we're doing is we're kind of waiting. Right now you're going to have the two of us. Empress Makalani will be with us in just a few minutes.
I think no, I think she's at the store someplace. Am I right? I think she's someplace at the
I
store.
think so. Wherever she is, she's handling business.
Look at they can see our backdrop.
I know. It's just how horrible
Our backdrop
that is.
looks like it
It's kind of
dropped.
like, you know what? It's kind of like The Wiz, where you get all the smoke and mirrors, and then all of a sudden you get really backstage and you see what the real deal is.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
But at any rate, it's not the outside. Just leave it alone, babe. Just
hold on. Can I do it better than that?
No, because it's
Hold on. Push it up a little bit. Hold on. No, it's gonna fall. It's gonna fall. Oh,
yeah.
Woo, we got lucky. Okay. Anyway.
So that's okay. The Wiz was still important.
Exactly.
And so what we have to say is important too. I love it when things happen like this. Not really, but the bottom line or the hidden message is that sometimes what you're dealing with is bigger than you are. Okay.
Yeah.
So
good.
So we're going to go on, and it's not about the backdrop today. It's about the message.
Yes, the message. Definitely the message. Hey, we got one person who's joining in. Glad to see you soon. Is it soon? Good. Good to see you.
Yes.
Glad to see you. Good to see you. I'm going to try to make sure that we can get our message rolling. I mean, it's just such a one of those things that, I'm telling you, it is what it is. It's rolling hard. Or some people will say it's hardly rolling. And if we don't get, because of the fact that, what are we doing now, Sharon, when it comes to how we're leading off into our programs? What are we doing now? What's the way are we doing it now?
We're starting off with video clips or little messages that are things that we pick up that share in what we are going to discuss and what our ideas are and what principles we're trying to share with you.
Exactly. And then what else do we do?
And so we start off with that, and then we show the video, and then we start discussing it.
And that's what we're trying to do, is get a video up and rolling, but it doesn't seem to be able to do it. I think what we're going to try to do is kind of go over a little bit of what we talked about last week, just a little bit, because I don't want to get into this new one as of yet, just because I think it's so important from that end. And I think I don't want to lead off as of yet, especially since I want to try to get in our young lady that basically computer appears to connect configuration device detected, resources not responsive. So that's the reason why.
The engineer has figured out.
Yeah. I don't know how much I'm going to do any good with it, but it is what it is. So anyway, Sharon, go ahead and talk a little bit about what happened last time. What did we talk about last time?
Last time we were talking about avoidance and the fact that as all of the different reasons and situations that come up that lead to us avoiding things, and how avoidance can have a negative impact on the relationship. And if you're trying to have a healthy, thriving relationship, but you're avoiding a lot of things like, discussing certain things or acknowledging certain things, or doing things like gaslighting all the time, being manipulative. All of those things have a negative effect on the relationship, has a very definitive way of putting little nicks in the relationship. And eventually, if you're chiseling away at something, as you're chiseling, what's happening is you're making something worse than it is. And the more you chip away at it, the less sound it is.
Unless you're trying to chisel it as an artist and you're trying to bring out a sculpture that's in it and bring it to its form that is trying to get out. We know many sculptures, the artist will say in there is the idea, personal thing that's trying to get out. And I'm going to be kind of like the creator and help sculpture around all that excess material until it actually comes out. And that's the same way we can think about a balanced, healthy relationship. We may not know everything about each other at the beginning, but as we move in a relationship as friends, we sculpture that relationship between each other. So we are able, as we move on in life, and our different changes in life, and growth in life, expansion in life, to find out how the us actually is created and how the us actually appears with people,
Yep. And when you said that, that made me think of something that
What's that?
This one sculptor said. He made a statement that, when he sees a block of whatever it is that he's sculpting with, I can't remember exactly who it was or what they sculpted from. They said that it speaks to them and tells them what it is that is in there.
Okay.
And sometimes what that brought to my mind is sometimes we have to do that in our relationships. We have to listen to our relationships and hear what is the good in it. Well, my arms won't do it.
Your arms are not long enough to box with God.
Exactly. The good that's in it that needs to be, you need to be reminded. It needs to be brought forward. And when you're doing things like gaslighting and manipulating and things of that sort, you're not really listening to what your relationship is saying that is good in your relationship.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
So therefore, you're just breaking away at stuff instead of creating something that's
true.
That's an object of beauty.
Exactly, and not and especially not the way that you want it to be.
Right.
Especially not the way you want it to be. So let's she's still at the store, isn't she? So let's start a little bit and talk about what our topic is today, and get some of the things that we can bring out, and then we'll go through the process of, I guess, being ready for her maybe to speak to us. What do you think?
Yeah, I think today, I think we just don't have a plan. We just go
exactly
as we go, and we just let things see what happens, because our plan has sort of been tabled. This is the day that we are we're winging it.
Yeah.
And so
well, that's all right.
And so
That's all
sometimes winging is really a great thing to do. Sometimes it's not. And it's never the ideal thing, but at least we're not avoiding what is going on,
Exactly.
and we're not avoiding the topic. We are still here and we're still pushing forward and making sure that you have an understanding of what we're doing here.
I'm looking in the background. Looks like she's packing the house, the car, because of the storm. What we're telling it right now. There's a storm
Yes.
that's brewing here in the Savannah area. Those who are watching other parts of the world, there's a storm that's brewing this way. What's the storm called, by the way?
Hurricane Helene is passing not too far away, and so right now we got a lot of rain today.
Mm-hmm.
But it hasn't hit landfall in Florida yet, which is what it's supposed to do, and I don't think it has hit there yet.
No.
But when it does, it's going to come through, and we're expected to get high winds and more rain. We don't expect to get the hurricane here,
Mm-hmm.
but we expect to get the residual effects from the outer portions of it, the excess winds and
Mm-hmm.
the excess rains that's coming off of the eye, that's going to be passing more west of us.
More westerly.
Yes, and going up more towards Macon and Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of things have shut down because of the impending possibility of things being kind of detrimental. And schools are closing in the area. A lot of businesses are closing just so people can stay home and be off the streets and stuff.
Exactly. You know what? I just want to cut you and say, you sound so good. We're going to make you the new weather girl.
Oh, gee,
I mean,
you wanted to see the weather. Not really, but yeah.
You were flowing so good, and you weren't even doing it with no script in front of you.
Well,
as they would do on the weather report. It looks like it was just part of you. I was waiting to put up a green screen in the back so you can kind of point to different. And usually when I ask you about the weather, you fumble and bumble and everything else. But now in front of the screen, in front of people, you just like go. You've always been, since I met you, if I put a camera in front of you, you just, with your alter ego comes out and you pop up and you're ready to go.
Well,
it's in front of the school.
Yeah.
In front of the kids.
Exactly. And I'm going to tell you, and that's exactly why I'm so versed on it, because not only did we talk about it when I got home today, school was closed early.
She's gone too. We just missed her.
Yes, she'll probably pop back in. School was closed early, but while we were there, the kids were watching it, on their devices, on their Chromebooks and things, and tablets and stuff. And so they were talking about it too. And so I'm picking up on that. And then when you showed me on the map, then it just kind of hit home. So that's why it's right there with me from that. So yeah, it's been ever present. The other problem is we had a lot of flooding here when Tropical Storm Debbie came through. And so a lot of the students, or quite a few of the students, are still reeling from that, because that was just last month.
Wow.
And so they're still reeling from that and kind of afraid and concerned that they're going to be in that same situation where, people, seriously, folks, people were taking boats through the neighborhoods, and kids were getting on the boats to be boated out of the community so they could get on the school bus.
Oh, wow.
To go to school. And, it was a unique situation.
It's not now.
No, it's not. But they're concerned that it may go back to that.
Yeah.
Because it's still so fresh in their minds.
Exactly. Still, I mean, people are enjoying it. It's a great show, even though we're not talking about our topic. We're talking about everything else but our topic. So what is our topic, since we don't seem to want to talk about our topic, huh?
Our topic is, what is a good provider?
What is a good provider? I'm going to try this again.
Or a real provider.
A real provider. I'm going to try to see if I can pop this up again. I doubt it, because some reason on our side of the house, coming from our studio, we just don't have a good connection. I think the last time we'll call it blew up, which was a fiber line was cut by Verizon, or somebody cut it. Verizon and T-Mobile in this area and some of the parts of the country along this area basically cut off all. We went dark, as they say.
Monday.
And so basically still haven't got the kinks worked out. That's included on our side too.
And
sadly.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Mhm.
And when you say that, today, while I was at work, I could not get internet on my phone
Oh, really?
at all. I did not get an internet connection until I got into the driveway here at home.
Yeah, that's something.
So, it's still just doing some strange things. And I don't know if, the storm is working with it too or not. But
Maybe the storm's not working.
yeah, that could be it too. So,
What are we going to do?
so what we're going to do is
So talk about it anyway.
I was getting ready to say, we're just going to plug right on through.
We're going to plug. What do we think about when it comes to a provider? What's the usual mind thought when it comes to when we talk about providers
Generally, when
in a relationship?
yeah, exactly. Generally, for me, what I have heard, as far as growing up and everything, when I'd hear somebody say, "Oh yeah, he's a good provider. Oh, he takes care of the family. He does what he's supposed to do."
Mhm.
You always heard of the man going out and working, bringing home money, taking
Bringing home the
care,
bacon.
exactly, taking care of all of the needs. If something, needs to be fixed, he would fix it. If something, needs to be purchased, he would give the money to make it purchased,
Mm-hmm.
to make that purchase. It was the man supplying or the husband supplying everything that was necessary for the family to run smoothly. Even in a situation where the wife was working also,
Mm-hmm.
it was, they always talked about, as I was growing up, he is a good provider.
Yes.
They didn't say she is a good provider. They didn't say they are good providers for the family. It was always he is a good provider. So the onus was always, the onus always seemed to be placed on the male, on the husband, on the father. The head of the household
Mm-hmm.
was the male.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the image that we all have. Most of us grew up with it and continued that image on.
Yes. And thought that we're baby boomers, so we're in our 60s. And so that was something that was really pressured and put on us,
Mm-hmm.
us males being a provider.
Yes.
And for us, especially in our Afro-American community, the misnomer, or as they did when they did the study one time, where with Johnson, after Martin Luther King pushed the issue, there needs to be voting rights that need to be pushed in. And Mr. Johnson, coming from Texas, decided to put out a commission to actually study America. Let me get over here a little bit. And found out there actually was two Americas.
Yes.
And Afro-Americans lived differently in America for how they were treated.
Mm-hmm.
And in turn, so were our relationships and how we related to one another.
Yes.
And that means many times fathers were not in the home.
Mm-hmm.
And many of their fathers were not in the home because they could not find work.
Right.
And so therefore, the push of being a provider was not necessarily a bottom line base that many African-American fathers could actually indulge themselves in, have generations of that were part of their lifestyle, part of their life. And so therefore, they traveled in a very uncomfortable way,
Mm-hmm.
a very pressured way,
Yeah.
a very stressful way that ended up many of them in bars, being alcoholics, drugs on the street with heroin back that and stuff like that. Because the reality was, I can't be a provider.
Yeah.
I want to be a provider. This country says I should. I don't necessarily have the well-off means because of job to be a provider. So therefore, that was something we couldn't live up to, and instead live mostly down to.
Yeah. But as you bring that up, that's one of those things that we never hear about. We don't hear about the families where it was a mutual decision that they would that the husband, the father, the male in the family would go off someplace where there were jobs, where they were able to make a decent living, and then they would send money back to the family,
Mm-hmm.
which meant that they were still a good provider.
Mm-hmm.
And what we don't hear about, we always hear about the fathers that just disappeared,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't hear about the fathers that left because it was the only way to support the family
Mhm.
and continue to support the family
Yes.
even while they were gone. We constantly get the negative side, but we don't get the positive side to balance it out.
You mean we
as
constantly seem to harp on the negative side. It
Yeah.
kind of reminds me of the day when I was talking to someone at the VA, being a veteran, trying to get some things still arranged because of my situation.
Mhm.
And I don't get, and you veterans out there, if you're listening, you know what I'm talking about, young and old, how bad the VA is when it comes to follow through and follow up, especially on the medical side. Some of you young folks who are in and out of the military now dealing with the VA, they don't know how bad it really is, what it was for us, where you wait and wait and wait and wait. And it'd be like in the Army, especially, you hurry up and wait and nothing happens. It's got a lot better than before. But yet there's still that behind the iron curtain, many things that you don't get to know, or who you need to talk to, who you need to contact, and to get things moving. And it's still kind of in a way that wait and see thing.
Yeah.
But once in a while you get somebody on the phone like I did today. She was a very good lady who helped me out in customer service. And she was up in the VA at Charleston, where the Charleston VA handles this particular area. And she gave me some behind the scene information that I needed to know to be able to handle my situation. So when the phone call was over, I decided to do something that we're talking about, even in relationships, referring to you,
Mhm.
where we always are hearing how bad we do,
Yeah.
or how bad things that we don't do, or in turn, the faults that we have. But if there's anything good and nice we do, especially today, it's not talked about. You're looked upon as being a loser,
Mhm.
or whatever they do, and in turn, not a winner.
Right.
But yet, this principle still exists because there are many people who are being what they call winners and are doing things that are the right way, providers and fathers who are
Mhm.
doing that,
Yes.
and they're not getting no kind of positive affirmations whatsoever. No one's saying anything nice about them.
Right.
Sometimes even their own woman is not saying anything good to them that they're doing. So I decided to make sure that I told this person that we're going to say something good. You're doing a good job. I really enjoyed that you gave me some background information. You decided not to palm me off, and you made me feel good about what I needed to know about what I didn't know.
Mhm.
I went further than that and made sure I told her supervisor that also the same thing. And I know it made her feel good. The supervisor even said it made her feel good to hear that.
Yeah.
And she also agreed upon that they get more calls about what they're not doing right.
Yes.
And it's barely the times that we get things that are doing things that we're doing right. And that's the same thing that has happened for the years with African American males, especially when it comes to the providing side. But go ahead.
Yes. So, and that was pretty much what my message was, that
Mhm.
the hype is on the negative, as it is quite often on the negative stereotypes of Black people or African American people or minorities. It's quite often on the negative side that and we don't get we don't get the balance.
Exactly.
Yes, there are some people who go off on their own and do the things that they shouldn't be doing. But there are also,
like other particular cultures do too.
I was getting ready to say that, but there's also the ones that follow the line straight down and get their goals set and then come back to the family, or bring the family to where they are. But what happens is
person's life.
our stereotypes don't get
Mhm.
don't get the balance
No.
like some other cultures do. Is basically what I'm trying to say.
Exactly.
So we've got to make sure that we keep that balance in when we're talking about it, and that's important,
Exactly.
especially when you're talking about a provider.
So you think a young lady's going to come back or today?
Well, she said she was going to, but she said she was going to have to switch in. So
Oh,
let's
okay.
just go ahead and continue. Actually, what we really need to do is take a break.
Oh, it's about break
time.
time.
It's time for us to take a break. We forgot we started.
We were doing so good.
Yes.
Okay, that's the reason why.
But we forgot we started late, and so you know we have skipped over our time to take a break. So
yeah, well, I guess we can go a little bit after 6. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we're good.
Julie's won't mind, but let's go into our break.
We're good, but let's do this before we move into the nuts and bolts of it.
No problem. No problem.
Hey there. Are you ready to amplify your voice and embrace your passion? Tune in to Our Black Media Network, where community comes first and every story matters. We're here 24/7, delivering powerful content on everything from financial literacy to the latest in sports and mental health. We are unapologetically real, reflecting the heartbeat of our community with programs that inspire, empower, and drive change. Join us on all major media platforms to celebrate our unique voices and advocate for the change we want to see. With over 50K monthly viewers, our network is your go-to destination for authentic, engaging content. Be a part of the movement. Be a part of the change. Tune in to Our Black Media Network today and let your voice be heard.
Need your garments cleaned with care and with a professional touch? Then bring them to One Price Cleaners in Garden City at the Old Farmers Market on Highway 80. Service you can count on.
All right, we're back again. Sharon, say something.
We are.
I just was checking the audio here. That's the only reason why I'm
Yes.
doing that.
Yes, we are. We
Looks
are
good.
We
Looks
are
good.
back. We're still making it work, doing whatever it takes to make it work.
Exactly. I wish. Young
Leilani?
lady- Yeah. We're really excited about it. Someone said, Mark, he's watching and learning. We're glad to see it. Hi, Sharon and Craig. We're so glad to have you connected to us. Now, where were we? We were talking about those lazy bums, those providers who are lazy bums, the guys that were out there. I mean, think about it, especially in the African-American community. There were many like me coming up without a dad, and becoming up without a dad in life from the single-parent family made me a fatherless father, and I'm a fatherless son too. And, you know, my dad was not around much, and when I was younger, I didn't think much about him. I didn't know what had him not being there, but, you know, I certainly didn't think about him being a provider at all.
And in a lot of situations, that was the case. But they always had the idea was hanging out there that when they talked about providers, it was the male.
Mhm.
So what makes a real provider?
Yeah, what makes a real provider? We'd love to have some of you guys give us some your feedback on what you think makes a real provider. Don't be scared. Don't be scared at all. Give us some of the things that that you think makes a real provider. Maybe you had a father in your life and you felt he was a real provider. Tell us. Give us a feedback. This is only going to be part one because we got to come back again. Hopefully this time the network will be back up and running, because I definitely got to check to see what's going on because it's really funky. But anyway, tell us what you feel and think were good providers in your life, and give us some.
Just drop it into the comment section, and we'll be able to see it and discuss it and move on from there. It's very important. See, I like to get the responses and stuff, and, you know, speak in, speak back, and all that type of thing. And with technology, there are many ways that we can do that.
For instance, I'm gonna start because I'm a I like to jump in. You know, I'm feeling much better too.
Yes. And so much stronger, and it's so good to see that as I kind of go off the rails again.
And gained a couple of pounds too.
Yeah.
We still got a little flab that's around here because we lost so much weight, but still, is money, I'm gonna go jump right into it. Is money a real reason to be looked upon as being something that what a real provider is?
That's a money bag. So, you know, the thing of it is, you cannot say that money is everything, you know, as far as being a provider is concerned. And I'm going to give you a case in point here. I had a neighbor once, and this was as an adult. He had he had 2 children. One was the same age as my youngest daughter, and they were very good friends. And they hung out together. They would talk across the walkway to each other because their bedrooms faced each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so you know, it was a good situation. But his wife went out and worked and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
and he stayed at home. The thing is, he had had a stroke when the youngest daughter, who was my daughter's real close friend, when she was just a toddler or a baby, you know, she was very,
Mhm.
very young. And he had, you know, in rehabbing and everything, because it affected his speech and things of that sort, he couldn't get a job.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't go out and work anymore.
Okay.
And so what ended up happening is he stayed home and took care of the kids, and he cleaned the house, and he did all kinds of things like that. But he did not have a job per se. He did not fit into that stereotype that we grew up with of what a good provider is.
Mm-hmm.
So some would say, is he a good provider? Was he a good provider? I would
Mhm.
say he was. Because
Okay.
it's not only what you bring in as money, but it's other things that you do. Not everybody, you know, is going to do that. Is going to be able to go out and get that job that is going to, you know, make everything run smoothly.
And didn't we just talk about, especially in the African American community, many Black males, like in my dad's day, they came back from Korea. Many of them just could not find a job whatsoever, let alone
Mhm.
compatible to doing like my
Yeah.
dad. I found out later on from his brother, when he had to sit me down one time because I told him how much I hated my dad. And he had to sit me down because he was like my dad to me, because I hung out a lot with his son. And he told me a little bit about my dad. And he said my dad basically, when he was in the military, he basically was doing architect work for the military,
Mhm.
helping putting together and setting up the portable bridges
Mhm.
that the armies used a lot
Yeah.
in the military. And when he said that to me, there was like a change inside of me that I felt about my dad as being a provider. Meaning in this particular case, it sounded like to me he had a well-worth kind of complicated intellectual kind of
Mhm.
job in the military that was different from the stereotypes that they say that they could only get or were given.
Yeah.
It made me feel like he was somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and that in turn, how it would have been to have a lifestyle if he would have been around with me and would have been able to provide and be a an architect, a Black architect.
Mm-hmm.
And of course from there, the confidence that would have me feel about being like someone, because someone who looked like me was doing something that I felt was something to be able to do.
Yes.
Ironically, later on in life, I befriended a young man who became a close friend of mine. And you'll never guess this young man who I befriended, who was a close friend of mine, you'll never guess what kind of work that he actually did.
Could it be architecture?
Yes.
Could he have been an architect?
It was in his early 20s, and we went to high school together. And sure enough, I met him later on in life. And what he was doing later on in life, he was an architect, a young architect in the same town we grew up with. And he had a couple of models of the buildings that he actually designed in his house. And we would hang out, smoke cigarettes and other stuff, and just chill, listen to music. And we always would have long conversations about how he got into it, how he moved from it, because he grew up in the projects. And there was nothing about this that was even slightly in his lifestyle. And he grew up without a dad too at the same time, but he just always loved buildings.
Yeah.
And he went to Des Moines Tech like I did, which was a technical high school back then, where they really were doing the right thing and getting people involved with skills, high skilled laborers,
Yes.
especially Afro-American young people. And that's where he took up that trade. And I always enjoyed coming to his house and spending the intellectual and the cultural time of talking with him as being a architect. I wonder today where he went. Does he have his own, was it architectural firm? Is that what you would call it?
Yes.
I wonder if he has that and all that other good stuff, man. Anyway.
That would definitely be interesting.
Yeah, I would.
But you bring up a great thought right there. And that is, a lot of people believe that the only way that you can be a good provider is if you have an acceptable career. You don't, you can't be a good provider if you are a janitor. You can't be a good provider if you are a street sweeper. You can't be, a good provider if you have some of the jobs that most people look down upon. In the years back, people even had the opportunity or the audacity, I guess you could say.
I was going to say that's probably the better word.
To look down on mechanics, auto mechanics, plumbers. I remember hearing some plumbers called jackleg plumbers because they were working for themselves. They were black men who understood
entrepreneurs.
Exactly. And but the they didn't have the same respect. That's the word. They didn't have the same respect that other people had in other positions, or that they would have had they been working for a company that a bigger company. But the fact that they were entrepreneurs, that lack of respect they called them jackleg, meaning that they really weren't that good.
Yes, sadly, you're absolutely right.
But they got the job done, but they still never got the respect that they needed or deserved. Yes, and so those are some of the things that you have to think about. Does it mean that you are not a real provider if you don't have a career, if you don't have a high-paying job, if you don't have all the stereotypical things or access to the stereotypical things that would call you a success? I hate that, but that would call you a success. And where are we with that? Are we still living in a world where you have to keep up with the Joneses in order to be a good provider?
Yes, that is still pushed hard. It's even worse now. You got a lot of young people. I wrote this today. That a lot of young people are very much caught up with the success, or in this case, being a provider, or my value is basically directly connected to how much I get paid, how much money
to
I
my
get
bank
paid.
account.
And many a times you find that commercials from other particular communities, they will utilize the whole stereotype that's pushed under that guise of capitalism, sadly in a very uncomfortable way, and saying that you are a loser if you're not making money, you're not bringing in some kind of income period, but your life would be terrible. How you treat your wife, how you treat your kids, you could still be that audacity. I don't give a damn about anybody else but my own self. I don't give a damn about your culture and who you are, because I'm about me and that's it. And it's everything because I'm making a whole bunch of money. Greed is good. And we see a lot of young people following that same path. Many are Afro-American young men are following that same path. And we see that many, through the commercializing of advertisement, they're advertising using commercials with cars, using houses, always females being a sexual kind of point of view, and always pointing them towards our young folks in such a way where they're partying, they're being frivolous and unpurposeful in life, and under the guise of I've got money, they're flipping it and making it rain and all that good stuff. And even if it's a softer type of commercial, they will always try to throw in hip hop or rap in the background. So the product they're trying to sell is still going to be an idea that it has to do with we want Black folks to be able to pick up this particular product.
Yeah.
I think I saw today something to do with a house cleaner. I think it was a vacuum. I can't remember. I heard a hip hop song being played in the background, and they were like, the women who were moving the vacuum like they were doing something to the hip hop song. So they were catering to Black folks when it comes to the vacuum cleaner too.
And the younger generation. Younger generation who have grown up
and would pick that up because it's a subliminal thing.
Yeah.
My concern is that is a way of having the manufacturer, who many times are not owned by Black folks, because we're mostly not creators, and we don't own manufacturing plants many times. We're consumers. So that means they're going to use that to make sure that their product is being bought by us, going to them so that they get the vacation, the kids keep on doing what they do and get what they get. And yet when we see that as being a reverse psychology, as being, wow, somehow we're getting paid. You're not getting paid. You really are being bought.
Yes.
You're not getting paid. You are really being bought. You are actually in turn paying them. That's what's going on. You are paying them. All under the guise of the root thing, which is, in order for me to be valued, in order for me to be somebody, in order for me, now we're talking about relationships, to be a provider, I've got to get paid. I have to have material things. It ain't on the other side as it should be, because there's nothing wrong with material things. How about more the side where I'm the creator?
Yes.
I'm the producer. I'm the inventor, as we were many times before and so on. I'm inventing these things so that in turn I can have my family, my relatives, and other people in my community buying these things. So it's not about me being paid. It's also mostly about me being able to produce, be able to create, and be able to get back and have generations of others to be able to enjoy from my creative mind that I have and God has given to me to expand and put on this earth while I'm living here and my other generations. That's part of what a real provider is. That's a provider that's in a balanced relationship, that knows their soul and know who they are as a spiritual being.
And in other words, to go back to something that you stated, and to bring this all together, to be a good provider, you are the architect of your life.
Yes.
And your family's life.
Yeah.
That's what makes you a good provider. You create it, you design it, not alone. You and your partner create it and design it and build on it.
Yes.
And so we're going to get more into that next week, because we are basically out of time.
Yep, we don't know what comes on after this. From that end, we missed you, Melanie. We missed you, and also what's the young man's name? Forgot his name. Weldon. Even she had to guess. And we would have loved to have you on the show.
And we missed Dr. Frazier too.
We certainly did. We're hoping that the next time we won't have to be going from our phone, only because of the fact that obviously we're having some problems with our side. But if you're in the storm area on the southeast coast of the world, hey, take shelter. Do not try to ride this out. Stay close to watching the weather reports.
Yes. And tune into it on your phone. If you are in the path of it, make sure you have an
Go ahead,
app.
weather girl.
Make sure you have an app on your phone.
Weather woman, come on, tell us. Yes.
To keep up with it, because it can get ugly quick.
Yes, definitely. I'm going to make sure that I have a little green screen next time so you can point here, point up here, point down here, and do one of these things.
How about this? I'll just do this. You'll be my green screen.
Oh, it'll be the green screen. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, until next time, God bless Ashe. Make sure you take that journey together and make it an adventure. All right?
Good night.
Like this.